Hello everybody, it's Lazel here with another video. Today I want to talk about our purging system. For those of you who don't know what purging is, once a month you play Void War. It is a very relevant event for our kingdom and we have it set as one of our priorities here. We want to be very efficient when it comes to that, and so we've set up some rules for castles which are unprotected close to the reset, which is most of the time the highest active time of players actively playing Void War. And so we've set up some rules that need to be held in, otherwise your castle gets burned by another alliance, by your alliance. You maybe get kicked out and then you get attacked and completely zeroed before you're not bubbled before the reset starts, and you might give points to the opponent's kingdom. So how does it all work? On a regular basis, it's always like that. There are different ways of how you can agree with it. First of all, it is very important that all of the alliances in your kingdom agree to it, at least the strongest alliances, and then you all set up the rules, let the whole kingdom know. Always do that around in world chat, that the main leaders of all main alliances have agreed to it, and present the rules in the world chat. Once you've done that, everybody in the kingdom is informed. It is the task of every leader of an alliance to inform the members about these new rules, and then the members need to adapt to them depending on their time zone, and if it's maybe in the middle of the night for them or during the day, you are responsible for your castle, so protect it. And here is how we do it. Basically, we once tried it to make an agreement. For example, we are the alliance UOT, and back in the days we had an agreement, for example, that we got coordinates, for example, from TSF. They told us, hey, we have this castle in our alliance who is not ready for Void War. He's not bubbled. He hasn't been online for several hours, and you guys need to zero him at that time. And we did the same with them. We messaged them the coordinates of our players who weren't bubbled, and then the alliances just time attacked each other. That sometimes caused some drama back in the days. As I've said, it wasn't with TSF, that was just an example here. So now we do it like that. When we see a castle in our alliance that isn't bubbled, I think our standard rule is that 2 hours before reset you need to be bubbled. Otherwise you get scouted from other castles and people will try to reach out for you. And if that doesn't help out, 1 hour before Void War, we start with purging castles. So when we see, okay, there's a castle, for example, here, the castle close to me, we see him, it is always the task of everybody to message him, maybe also start a line call to the person. The last thing you want to do is zero somebody. But if it simply doesn't help, if the person fell asleep or something like that, they will be zeroed by the other kingdom anyways. It will in most cases happen. So you have to decide, do we want to give the opponent one more target or do we want to simply zero him by ourselves? The outcome is in most cases the same. So 2 hours before Void, we start scouting this castle, the castle from other castles that players have. We then go and message the person, call the person, and if he really doesn't respond 1 hour before reset, we start purging by always doing time attacks. Make it efficient, don't invest any speeds or something like that, simply do timed attacks and then you're good to go. This is how we handle it. Of course, it will always lead to drama, it will always lead to people complaining and so on and so on. But you have to make a point, you have to take action when it comes to that, and you need to be way more efficient as a kingdom. We've lost so many Void Wars to castles that weren't protected in reset, and after a lot of losses, we've decided to start purging way more often, and it needs to be done. Otherwise, you won't make it. It's simple as that. You will always lose Void. Often it's often a close battle in Void War. We've had that several times, and it's just very frustrating when you know, okay, at least 5 castles gave so many points because they simply weren't protected. Do that. Always try your best to reach out to the player. But as I've said, our rule is, for example, 2 hours before we start scouting and 1 hour before the actual reset happens, we start with purging castles. Every alliance is responsible for themselves now. We don't do any agreements anymore with other alliances, as that might cause drama, especially since we merged a few months ago. And it can sometimes be still heated up in here. So just take care of your alliance, inform everybody in the world chat that purges will happen. And for smaller alliances, for example, let's say we wouldn't attack an alliance like TSF or WCT. But when you then see a very strong castle in one of the, for example, ranking 52 or 55, we also attack those alliances, like castles where you really see, okay, there's barely any active players, they maybe also don't have the power to zero a castle, then we also do that. Just let everybody know, guys, they will be purging the day before Void, and then everybody is set up. It ain't that expensive to get a 1-day shield or a 3-day shield for 1 weekend in a month. You can do it and you should do it. It is definitely worth it. If you cannot play, if you know that you will have a busy day, plan it a bit ahead. Those few clicks really have a high payoff when it comes to this. But purging is very important to be a way more efficient kingdom. I've been in so many voids where we played against active kingdoms that were very organized, and I barely found any targets because short after reset, everything was still burning from their purge, and that's very efficient. Players lose motivation to play when they don't find any target. That's also something that you have to consider. If your opponents don't find any targets, they will get demotivated and will stop playing, while you can be in their kingdom and hustle points. Purging makes sense. It's not an easy thing to do. There will always be people that complain about it, but you have to set some standards and really implement the rules that everybody gets down to it. It is very important. Get it done. This is how we do it. You guys, I'm very interested in how you handle purging in your kingdom. Let me know down in the comments below. And then I would say, see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys.